What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Krill from Out the Box. Back for a impromptu video. I'm trying to stay as connected as possible to the channel. It's been a while, and I've been doing these videos in spurts. But I want to talk about a topic today that I feel like the audience will appreciate, and we can kind of create some dialogue upon. So before I do that though, let me make sure I note about the website. Let me throw up the website outtheboxmedia.com. That is where you will find brand new hip hop, creative and conscious hip hop, thoughtful hip hop is that feeds the soul, you know what I mean? Not everything, but a lot of hip hop in that frame that gives you more than just words, right? You can tell by the artists that they put a lot of thought into their music and they try to deliver music that people can walk away with feeling like they gave it a good listen, right? And like they appreciated that listen. So yeah, man, that's a blog site that you can go to. I post new music on that site pretty much daily. And I've been doing a lot as well as far as like the music reviews. Those that might not know, I have another YouTube channel, which is known as Out the Box Media. This one is Out the Box TV. But that channel has mostly music reviews. There'll be other things coming for that channel as well that I'm working on, but mainly right now, as of today, it's music reviews. So if you want to get access to like some of the new music that's come out, of course, in the creative and conscious realm, because that's the type of music that I'm showcasing on the website and sharing about. You go to that channel, Out the Box Media, and you can catch some of the music reviews there. I had a busy week this week. I did a lot of music reviews, and I got more coming, but you can catch music reviews on that YouTube channel from Elzai and Georgia and Muldrow, their new album Zeitgeist. I also have a music review on the Tom Caruana producer. His name is Tom Caruana. He put out a new album called Strange Planet. Really dope concept project. It's pretty long as well, but the review is actually short, so it really tries to get to the core of the project. Also, I did an album review on site. I Read the Kid's new album, The Shadow in the Shade. Then I also did a review on my brother Jay Swiss and producer Michael Leonhardt's new album, Bonafide. I also did a review on Joel Ortiz and King Crooked's new album, The Rise and Fall of Slaughterhouse. So I think that's the bulk of what I've done so far this week. But there's a lot of other reviews I did. I also did a review on RZA and DJ Scratch's project entitled Saturday Afternoon Kung Fu Theater, which is a dope project, by the way. So yeah, man, I've been really heavy at work with the music review channel. And for those that may not know, I wrote a book last year in September. It's called Creating a Successful Interview Podcast, which is really a podcast guidebook, right? On how to develop a successful interview podcast. So, those of y'all that have been following this channel, you know that I've been doing this since about 2009, specifically on the channel. But I've been doing interviews with artists and guests since I was doing college radio, and that's going all the way back to like 2003. So, and I also have a degree in radio. So I've been developing and honing and perfecting my craft as an interviewer for a lot of years. And I wanted to do a book that was sharing insight on some of the things that I've learned, the mistakes I've made, the adjustments I've had to make and still make as an interview journalist. So I haven't really seen much of my peers doing that. And not that that's the reason why I wrote the book, but I felt like I needed to, one, share my expertise. And, I always wanted to write a book and, have my legacy kind of live, in that way. And you all also may know that I put out an album called Growth and Balance, my first album as an MC. And also this whole album I also produced. So this is my first time like debuting a project where I produced. That album is available on digital streaming platforms. It's also on Bandcamp, and it's by yours truly, Krill, entitled Growth and Balance. So go check that out if you haven't gotten a chance yet. Yeah, man. So I'm going to get into the topic today. I just wanted to mention a few of those things before I start. I'm not going to be here too long, but I also want to mention, for those that have been following the platform, you probably see that it's taken a little while for me to go into the new season of Out the Box Talks, which is my interview podcast show where I interview a lot of talented hip hop artists. So that I have news for you all that Out the Box Talks season 4 is coming really soon. Look for a new episode next week as we roll out season 4. As you know, I finished the 100th episode in December, and that was season 3. And it took a little while to start a new season because I just needed to make sure. Well, for one, I needed to take a rest because it does take a lot to do these interviews. But I needed to work out some other things and just make sure I was ready to go for the new season. So, I'm looking at how often the episodes will roll out this season. I'm still kind of undecided of how often, but it will definitely be a new show next week that you all can look forward to. This work is definitely a laboring type of work. And I have to say, a lot of times it's my drive for just appreciating a lot of these hip hop artists and just my passion and enjoyment with their music that makes me keep doing this, right? So I truly, really do it for the love, but sometimes doing it for the love is not enough, right? So whenever you guys are able to send donations or subscribe to the Patreon platform or purchase merch, whatever you do that helps to bring this platform along, and not just this platform, but everything Out the Box Media related, right? From the music reviews to the YouTube channels to the blog, right? Which is a big part of my everyday now. It helps, right? It helps. So, that's another reason why I've had to kind of slow things down a bit, just really finding the right balance, But it's a Friday night and I wanted to chat with y'all and just build with y'all. Y'all can see I got my other camera up. This one takes a little bit longer to set up, but I wanted to, have my presentation look a little bit more flavorful today. But let's get into the topic of the day. Let me throw up my new tag. So our topic of the day is best MCs keeping uplifting and thoughtful hip hop alive. And it could also be just conscious hip hop alive, right? So let's talk about it, y'all. And if you are watching live right now, feel free to communicate by leaving a comment. Let me get some of my tea. Chamomile tea, man. I love it. So yeah, so feel free to leave a comment if you are watching live, and like the video if you're watching live as well. But if you're not watching live and you're catching this video afterwards, definitely feel free to leave a comment when you catch the video on demand. All right, so let's talk about the topic of the day: best hip hop, best MCs keeping uplifting and thoughtful hip hop alive. So I really wanted to talk about this because I feel like, you know, uplifting, conscious hip hop artists, those who are known for that, right? And I know a lot of MCs don't really like that name attached because it brings a sort of a stigma. But just so we're keeping it in sort of a category of the type of artist we're talking about, I'm just going to use that, right? So I feel like when it comes to these types of artists, or these artists that music consistently represents, that they're kind of swallowed up in the crowd. Like, we don't really talk about them consistently. Like, we know who they are. And then when we think about the mainstream, there's like a really small handful of them, right? Like, when we think about, who are the most known conscious hip hop artists, or artists who put time and thought into their music, that's like really, really well known today, or thought provoking artists. Most of the times people say like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, and it's really just always those two, right? In terms of today's mainstream hip hop artists. Now, of course, you got the Nas's and the Commons and the Lupe Fiascos and so forth, but they're not, they've been here for a while now, as opposed to like J. Cole and K. Dot, who have kind of emerged in, like, I want to say probably post 2010, right? So I find that those are like the two names, that get that high recognition. And I just feel like, going back to the topic of my previous video that I did, like, I want to say a couple weeks ago, where we were talking about, why creative and conscious hip hop is not celebrated, I think it's for that same reason. It's like, we could probably name 20 plus rappers that don't, like, their music is not thoughtfully on the level of a Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole, but those are the rappers that get recognized and get talked about a lot more, right? The other thing I'm concerned about is, like, why don't we have more uplifting hit records? Like, it's one thing to have a album, and then on the album there's like this album cut, or there's like multiple album cuts that are like uplifting records or thoughtful records, but we don't get a lot of hit, like really inspiring, uplifting hit records, right? Like, one of those records might make one of the singles, but often it's not the record that is like the biggest record, right? When you think about, like, what are the biggest records on the charts, you don't really hear a lot of fully uplifting, inspiring hip hop records from mainstream artists. And I was thinking about how, like, back in the days, we had the, what's the song, the Stop the Violence movement, the self-destruction song, and we have not had a record like that, to my knowledge, since then, right? I think there was one record that was done about against like police brutality by a number of like notable names, but I mean, like, I think we're at the stage now with all of the negativity that has been in the news with, like, you know, a lot of different rappers, especially, this new generation of rappers. um we could have had a stop the violence movement record of 2022, right? Or 2021, or just in recent time, and we haven't had that. And I'm wondering if that's due to lack of unity amongst MCs, or is it just people are not interested in a record like that? I don't know, but shout out to my brother A Level. I believe there was a show where me and him, we talked about being able to see that version of you know that record, that classic stop the violence movement record, self-destruction, in this new era that we're living in. I would love to see it, you know but I also wanted to shout out some of the artists that I think, outside of like the K Dots and the J Coles, some of the other artists that I think has been keeping uplifting and thoughtful hip hop alive. Now, if you know me, I'm very tapped into the underground scene, right? The independent hip hop scene. So there may be mainstream artists out there that I might not be catching, which is why, I want to get people's feedback and comments on this, because I don't think I'll be able to catch everybody. Of course, it's like, that's just not going to happen. I don't know every artist out there. But I'll definitely shout out some of the artists that I am familiar with, especially in the independent scene. And I also want to just really highlight some of the artists that are really, the MCs that are really, like, their music is like through in and throughout inspiring and uplifting, right? And I know sometimes uplifting and inspiring hip hop can get a corny rap, even though I think it's absurd that it would get a corny rap. Like, this is the type of music that, to me, is the core of hip hop, right? Like, music at its best helps to make someone's day better. It helps someone to relate to a struggle and be uplifted by that relatability in the music, right? And I think it's very important when we see artists like that doing that, right? We have to celebrate these artists. We can't, act they're like they don't exist, right? Or that they don't deserve the celebration. They need to be applauded, right? Because it gives them the validation that what they're doing is right, and that they are motivated to continue doing it, right? And that validation should also come in the form of supporting them financially by buying their music if you like what they have to offer. Because that's another thing about hip hop. It's like, now that we are in this digital streaming era, and you can pretty much listen to majority of the music online on YouTube for free, right? Or if you have a streaming, you know, plan, it's a very cost effective way to access a lot of music for free. But if you have the money to support the artist, it's very important, I believe, to keep those artists going, to purchase their music or go to their shows, right? And I know it's been tough lately in the pandemic, where a lot of artists weren't touring, but as things start to open up, we'll have opportunities to do that. So if you can afford it, right? Of course, you can't. There's other ways to support the artist by sharing their music, talking about their music on social media, and doing so forth, right? So shout out to Sean 100 in the chat. I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna shout out some of the names that you mentioned, as far as like the uplifting and the thoughtful, conscious hip hop MCs. So, yup, I agree with you, brother. Elzai, Master Ace, Nas, Goody Mob, KRS-One. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Shout out to KRS-One, who actually just put out an album entitled, what is it titled? I'm trying to get the right saying of the album. It's I am an MC. Are you one too? I think that's what it stands for. I am an MC. Are you one too? I believe that's what it stands for, if I'm correct. But yes, he is one of the most consistent MCs of all time. I mean, I can't even remember what number album this is, but it's definitely up there in terms of the length of his catalog. And he is somebody that you can always count on to bring uplifting and inspiring hip hop to the table. And what amazes me about Chris is that he's just never given up on hip hop. You know, his love for hip hop and his love for continuing to represent the culture and progress the culture, even though he's an OG, is so valuable, So shout out to KRS-One, man. And Nas, to me, has sort of, not that Nas has ever really stopped releasing albums, but with this King's Disease album that he's been doing with Hit Boy, which is now like a series, because word is that we're going to get a King's Disease album part 3. He has sort of like resurged, and we can continue to see new music and new albums from him, and he has kept it fully mature, for the most part in his music. Goody Mob, as you said, Sean 100, like, this is a group that, although I haven't heard much music from them lately, I think they dropped the album probably a couple years ago or a year ago, but they're one of the groups that, in terms of like Southern hip hop, my first introduction to Southern hip hop from a conscious and thoughtful perspective was Goody Mob. That Soul Food album was everything to me. That was like, that was classic. I got that in the 90s, and it was just an amazing album. Amazing album. Like, everybody on that, in that group, brought it lyrically. you know yeah, man, Soul Food is definitely a masterpiece. Master Ace as well. Like, Ace has been consistent. What I love about Ace is, like, he is so calm and clear, and he takes his time with his delivery, that you really get to soak up his message in his music really, really clearly. And I think what was the record it was the album he put out. He put it out, I think it was like 2 albums ago. Let me get the correct name. I don't want to butcher the name of the album. Of course, A Long Hot Summer was one of my favorite albums by him. But the Falling Season album that came out in 2016, that's probably my favorite. Between that and a Long Hot Summer, those are like my favorite Master Ace albums. Not only because of the production, but like the concept. Like, he's another great concept. Like, he makes really great concept albums, and his voice just sounds very at home with the soulful production that he usually tends to rhyme over. But the Falling Season album, I love that album, man. Like, everything about it, the artwork to the themes, the subjects, the stories that he talks about on the album, like, everything about that is dope. So yeah, you brought me back to that, Sean. Yeah, shout out to you for mentioning Ace. And of course, Elzai, man. I don't know if y'all got a chance to find out, but if you follow me on my social media platforms like Out the Box Media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, I made note last weekend that I was gonna do a Twitter Spaces to talk about Elzai and Georgia Ann Muldrow's new album entitled Zeitgeist, which is a amazing album. If you have not gotten a chance to listen to it, Elzai is in my top 3. He is one of the most skilled lyricists that I have ever heard in hip hop, and his lyricism is on full display on this new album with the Georgia Ann Muldrow. And speaking of Georgia Ann Muldrow, like when I talk about MCs keeping uplifting and thoughtful hip hop alive, she is an MC, even though she sings and she produces. She is one of the most uplifting, inspiring, thoughtful MCs that I have heard of in this age as well. And I was fortunate to interview her twice on this platform, Out the Box TV. And even in my conversation with her, the conversation is thoughtful and very inspirational and uplifting. So shout out to Georgia Ann Muldrow. She is one of the best. I don't want to just say best female MCs. She's just best in general. But even if we put her in the female MC category, she is one of the top. And her music is very uplifting and inspiring. And that's her energy. You know what I mean? So I appreciate sisters like her. Yeah. Common, yes, we mentioned Common earlier. Sky Zoo, yep, definitely Sky Zoo, man. I mean, his music has unfolded in a amazing way as he's continued to put out projects, like the project that he put out just recently. Man, sometimes I forget these. You know what it is? I'm not bombarded, but I'm always checking for so much music that I forget the album names and stuff. But yeah, All the Brilliant Things was an amazing album. It really touches on the topic of gentrification, and it's coming from the perspective of what Sky has seen in happen in neighborhoods like Brooklyn, right? And Bed-Stuy and things like that. And it's just really thoughtful. And even his project Milestones, which is really an EP that was released in 2020. What an amazing project that tackles the topic of responsible fatherhood in such a dope way. Like, if you've never gotten a chance to check that out, go check that out. Milestones. The other thing about Sky Zoo is that his music, if I had to describe his music, it sounds like it is the hip hop soundtrack to Spike Lee movies. Like, it feels like that. I get that, right? Like when I listen to his music, and it has this very jazzy, soulful, cinematic feel, right? In the vein of what, in the frame of what we get when we actually watch Spike Lee's classic movies, like Crooklyn and, a lot of his movies, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, shout out to you, Sean, for mentioning Sky Zoo. Styles P too, man. You're right. Styles P has been, very, very thoughtful in his music, especially when you get to hear like his solo projects. He does take it there, Um, and shout out to him for starting the Juice Bar, and really taking a thoughtful approach from a health perspective. Like, he didn't just talk about it, he was like about it for real, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Styles P. And speaking about health conscious, like my brother Stickman from Dead Prez, like, he has always continued to, I want to say, since he put out the Manhood album, his music has been, I mean, and they've always been like that as Dead Prez, but like, I so like appreciate the maturity that he has continued to grow into as a man, but also as an MC, and just the uplifting music that he chooses to share. Like, that workout album, he did two versions of a workout album, Workout 1 and Workout 2, and it's clearly about the title, where he's has a number of records that are inspiring to people to live a healthier lifestyle, working out, eating healthier, having a healthier mind, all of these things, right? So I know we don't get a lot of music from him, but the music he's put out already is just so valuable that it's gonna last a lifetime, right? So, shout out to Stick on the Workout 1 and 2 album, and hopefully we get Workout 3 sometime, soon, maybe this year or in the coming years. But yeah, man, shout out to Stick. And there's a lot more, but I want to shout out some of the other MCs that I I'm familiar with that have really been keeping uplifting and thoughtful hip hop alive. And if you are tuning in live right now, definitely feel free to leave you know, your choices in the comments. I'll shout them out. So yeah, so another a set of artists that I think, pardon me, that I think is keeping uplifting and thoughtful hip hop alive are artists like, and these are all MCs, Kid Abstract, right? He's an MC that's from the West Coast that I got a chance to interview on Out the Box Talks last year. And I have to say, like, pretty much everything this brother puts out, at least in recent years, to my knowledge, has always been uplifting and inspiring. I mean, even if you just follow the brother on Twitter, like, he puts out a lot of uplifting and inspiring, tweets out there, So I mean, his music reflects that. And he actually just put out an EP. I think it's called High Vibration. So, like, look at that, just the title alone, right? And he stays on topic a lot. So, shout out to Kid Abstract. If you're looking for music that is really does have that inspiring, uplifting message, he's one of the artists out there that's more so on the underground that does it consistently. Also, my brother Sky Blue, who is another MC that I got a chance to interview on the platform. And you can catch this interview right here on YouTube, Out the Box TV. He is another inspiring and uplifting MC. He put out a project with an artist by the name of Nabu the Maestro. Um, let me just make sure I got the right title. Yeah, Keys of Light by Sky Zoo and Navo the Maestro. It's available now. It's about 17 songs, about an hour and 7 minutes. It was released in November of last year. And it's sort of like a concept album too, but like, just look at the title of it. It's entitled Keys of Light, right? So his whole approach with this album, from my conversation with him in the interview, is like, he wanted this album to reflect goodness in music, right? An uplifting sound in music, not just lyrically, but on a production level too, right? So a lot of the music is all about light, right? And he does it in such a really dope conceptual way as well. So this is an album that I encourage you to go listen to, like, really just sit with it, because and it's one of those albums that you're gonna get like right away, like, because the beats are so dope. So shout out to Navo the Maestro. But yeah, man, Sky Blue is one of the most uplifting and inspiring artists I know of today. Another MC from Chicago by the name of D2X. He's also very uplifting and inspiring too. He put out an album entitled, just bear with me as The Color Blue. And I think it came out last year. Yeah, like, it was actually around this time last year. Like, literally, think literally around this time last year it came out. And really uplifting and inspiring MC too. And a good thoughtful MC as well. Rita J, who put out an album with Neek entitled The High Priestess. Abstract Mind State. If you guys are not familiar with Abstract Mind State, they are a duo. male female duo out of Chicago. Also the oldest, like probably the first known male female duo in hip hop period, and certainly out of Chicago, man. So they put out a album last year as well, and their music is very inspiring and uplifting. Brother John Robinson, who I've had on the platform a number of times, very inspiring and uplifting MC. Substantial, another dope brother that I've had on the platform a number of times, definitely inspiring, uplifting MC. Mega Ran, novelist, sage poet. These are all like thoughtful, MCs as well, man. And who else? Shout out to Rap Ferreira. Very, very thoughtful, conscious, very careful. You could tell that he takes a lot of time and dedicated and devoted time to his music. Shout out to Homeboy Sandman, another thoughtful MC, creative MC, conscious MC. Not to label him that, but in terms of the music that he makes. Another dope MC that might be known for just really, really clever with the wordplay and even in the battle rap scene, but can really go there with thoughtful rhymes and really, music that you can relate to, the everyday person, is Mickey Fax. He put out an album called Collages in 2020. And it came at the close of the year, but it was such a well thought out, you know, thought provoking project. Another brother that has been doing music for a long time and has been really consistent as of late is Speech of Arrested Development. If you know about the Grammy winning group Arrested Development, Speech put out a solo album in 2021. And at the end of the year, he put out an Arrested Development album. And both albums are uplifting, inspiring, and thoughtful. So, shout out to Speech, man. Good brother as well. Wordsworth, who very, very clever with the wordplay. You probably know him from Lyricist Lounge. You know him from his history with, doing music with Raucous Records and so forth. Like, very, very talented brother and thoughtful and, really creative with the music. Brother Ali, another MC that has been very thoughtful, uplifting, conscious minded with the music. Jay Electronica, of course, Rhapsody, my brother Kai, who's like another one of my favorite MCs of all time. His music is very, very thoughtful. It does, he tells, the music from a perspective of, the streets, but it's very thoughtful and very reflective of struggle, but told in a way that is not like glorifying the struggle. Like it's letting you know, like, yo, this is what happens and this is what leads to these issues, right? Or this is what, poverty or ghetto life brings about. And you get a sense in his music that a lot of times in his music he's talking about making, but about, doing right and making right decisions and maturing, and all of that stuff is in the music, man. So shout out to, the homie Kai, man. Such a dope, thoughtful MC as well. Yeah, man. So that's a few of the names that I came up with. I'm pretty sure there's so much more. I just wanted to highlight some of my favorites. Who am I missing? I feel like I might be missing some other apparent names, But yeah, I mean, who else am I missing, man? Yeah, there's a lot of MCs out there, man, that is really putting it down. You know what I mean? So, yo, thank y'all for tuning in to this impromptu video. I just wanted to just chop it up with y'all, build with y'all. Oh yeah, thank you. You did say Talib Kweli, Sean 100. How could I knew I was forgetting somebody. Of course, Talib Kweli, who has been pretty consistent with, you know, music that is on an uplifting, inspirational vibe. I think he released an album with Diamond D sometime last year. I think it was last year. Another MC that's like that too is Pharaoh Monch. I forgot about him. Yeah, he can definitely take it there. It's just like really good lyrically as well. Yeah. There's a lot, man. There's a lot. That's the thing about being so connected with music. And every day, like almost every day, I'm finding out about a new artist that I'm like, wow, like, when they talk about hip hop not being the type of music that's bringing consciousness and uplifting messages and their lyrics to the forefront today, like that's so far from the case. Like there's so much dope new creative and conscious hip hop out there. It's just a little bit difficult to find because let's keep it real, like there's way more people making music now, and the way that we get our music now is way more accessible. Like there's so many different ways that we can get it, so it's harder to have like this one place that everybody is going to, and I don't know if that hurt the conscious uplifting music being more recognized in the culture, or if it's a good thing. I do know that it's a reality that we are dealing with, and we have to figure out a way to navigate through it and celebrate and show love to the artists that are taking that type of approach in their music. Yeah, man. So shout out to everyone that is tuning in live. I appreciate you all. Let me know if there's topics that you would like me to discuss. Sometimes I don't go live because I don't really just want to come on here and talk about nothing. Like I don't want to talk about stuff that's just for clickbait reasons. I want to have wholesome conversation, right? And wholesome dialogue and wholesome speech on something that is progressive for hip hop culture. As I've said before, I really do care about this culture. And it's the reason why, I try to work and interview these types of artists. Yeah, man. Oh, shout out to my brother S. I forgot to mention him. Like he's also a very, very thoughtful, and conscious minded MC. He has a new album out entitled You Want a Piece of Me. And the brother always delivers from a very mature perspective. So I have to make sure I mention him. And of course, my brother Jay Swiss, who has consistently put a lot of thought and care into his music and often has an inspiring and uplifting message. Also, Cy Martial Law. See, now the names are coming back to me. Another inspiring, uplifting MC. So it exists, man. I just would like to see us celebrate it more and us support it more, right? I feel like we're living in a time frame where a lot of people don't gravitate, like the multitude doesn't gravitate to conscious or thoughtful hip hop unless everybody's talking about it, right? Like, but the people that are on this platform that are already checking for this type of music, you guys are a select few. There's not a lot, hence why I only got like a small amount of people watching live right now. But I want to let y'all know that y'all are important, because together with the artists that make this kind of, uplifting, thoughtful hip hop, and the fan base and the audience, we help to keep this thing alive. So I say all that to say, don't take for granted your support. Don't take for granted, your love for the culture and what you do to help keep it alive, whether it's purchasing music from the artists, sharing their videos, liking their videos, tweeting, retweeting about it. Whatever you do to support them and let them know that you're supporting them is very important, you know. So yeah, man, there's a lot of conversation I'm sure we can have on the topic of what can be done to ensure that, or to encourage thoughtful and uplifting hip hop to get out there more. But I think the first thing we got to do is recognize who's out there doing it and show them the love and the support, you know what I mean? In terms of the artists. Yes, RZA and DJ Scratch EP is very solid and has a lot of jewels. Yep. Shout out to RZA. That's another brother who has been putting a lot of inspirational music out. I think in 2020 he had put out a sort of like a meditation EP, which was super dope because I don't know of any hip hop artists that had done something like that. It's called Guided Explorations, and I think it was like what, 6 songs, 6 tracks, and about 30 minutes. So it wasn't really short. Like 30 minutes is kind of long for just 6 tracks, and it's a meditation album and a meditation EP, and it just sounds like RZA. Like, you know, he's like mostly talking on the project, but like it's so dope. Like, and that's what I'm talking about when we talk about pushing the culture of hip hop forward. Like, it doesn't always have to come in the form of what we are familiar with as like rap records or hip hop records. It could be something like that, like a meditation record or meditation EP or meditation album. And he did that successfully. And then when we talk about the DJ Scratch record that he just put out, uh, that was like Sean 100 said, like, you know, in the comments, very solid project, man. I had a fun time listening to it. I actually did a review on it on my other YouTube channel, Out the Box Media, that you want to, if you want to check that out. But yeah, I really enjoyed that in terms of it was like a concept record as well. And I love concept records. So shout out to RZA, man. Word, word. Yeah, so again, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Just to mention again, we got Out the Box Talks coming, Out the Box Talks season 4 coming next week. So look out for a new interview with a dope, talented hip hop artist. And, you know, I want to thank all the fans and those who have been rocking with me for staying connected with me. You know, remember, you could go to the website, outtheboxmedia.com. You see it down below. And I'll make sure I put the links in these description. If you would like to donate to the platform, you know, I would really appreciate any donations to keep helping the platform move forward. You know, it is costly to keep, you know, the like right now I'm using like StreamYard and, you know, all the other things, like even to keep the blog running, it does cost, right? So if you can support and you have the ability to support, if you can, it's all good, you know. But if you have the ability to support, you can send us donations via Cash App and PayPal, and you can see the links in the description of the video as well as on the screen at the bottom as well. And yeah, man, I got a lot of things coming, man. So the website, which is the new music blogs, outtheboxmedia.com, where you can find brand new creative conscious hip hop posted to that blog on a daily basis. Also, I post a lot of new soul music as well. And at the end of each month, I do best albums of the month list for the hip hop and also soul. So best albums and EPs of the month for hip hop and soul. And I also do a Spotify playlist. So if you want to find the Spotify playlist, it is entitled Out the Box Hip Hop. Out the Box Hip Hop Soul. That's the Spotify playlist. So yeah, you can definitely go check that out. So we got the Spotify playlist, we got the music reviews on the other YouTube channel, Out the Box Media. We got the Out the Box Talks interviews about to start again. We got the Patreon page if you want to donate and support that way. That is let me throw up that has like, I think it has at least 30 to 40 exclusive interviews up right now that you can find, and more will be coming. So you could go to Patreon, right, and support us that way by becoming a monthly Patreon subscriber. You could also subscribe to the website outtheboxmedia.com and get so you can stay updated, like to be on our email list, and that's completely free. You can do that. And you just go to the website outtheboxmedia.com and you click on the tab that says subscribe. So you can be updated. So yeah, man, I got the music reviews, the Spotify playlist, the new music blog, the artist interviews with Out the Box Talks, the I mean, it's just so much, right? So your boy is staying busy. And I got some other things I would like to do for Out the Box Talks. And let me know how y'all feel about it. I was gonna hold on to it, but I figure let me mention it. Like I would love to do something where we can create dialogue on albums that come out and decipher the lyrics. I did that kind of with the Twitter Spaces the other day. I did with shout out to A Level and Mark who joined me on that. In regards to this Elzai album, we were kind of like going through the lyrics. So if that's something y'all are interested in, we could do that. That's something we could look at, like maybe doing shows or maybe just a community that deals with that, right? And it could be new music, and it could also be older records that probably we need to go revisit and like just study the lyrics. Like as you guys may know, with a lot of the interviews I do, you can see that I'm a lyric head. Like I love listening and deciphering and trying to figure out what the artist intended by their music. And I would love to do something like that with you know a community, like whether it's here on the YouTube channel or in another like community where we gather and we just kind of look at lyrics from some of our favorite music and really just break down what we think the lyrics are saying. Because when I go through music from artists, I'll be like, man, like I wish I knew, shout out to sites like genius.com where you can go and like they have like the lyrical annotation where you can, find out what other people are saying about the lyric, or people will give their meaning behind the lyrics. But I would love to do it in a form of like a live discussion where, because I feel like we can learn from each other, so if that's something y'all interested in, man, let me know, because I it's something that I'm definitely interested in. I would just have to see how it rolls out, you know. But yo, I want to thank y'all again for tuning in. I'm about to get off of this video. I want to say much love. Hope everyone is doing well. And thank you for rocking with Out the Box. For real, for real. Thank you. All right. Out the Box Media, Out the Box TV, Out the Box Radio. Remember to follow me on my social media platforms, Out the Box Media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right. All Out the Box Media. I got the new book out, Creating a Successful Interview Podcast, a how-to guide. So if you are someone that's looking to start your interview podcast, or you want to perfect your interview skills, maybe you have a show that you're trying to develop, your boy can help, man. In fact, the book is available for free until the end of this month. So if you go to my website, outtheboxmedia.com, and you click on the tab that says ebook, you can join my book email list, right? And it's really the email list for Krill Inspires, which is where I give a lot of insight on, knowledge that is based on the book, right? Like, knowledge on how to develop a successful interview podcast. Just if you join that mailing list, I'll send you a copy of the ebook for free, but I'm only doing it until the end of the month. So if that's something that you think you could benefit from, or hey man, if you know somebody that has a that's trying to start their own podcast and they need help, man, you could send them the info and they could subscribe as well, man. But yeah, I have the ebook available for free now until the end of the month. All right, so yo, I think that's it. More music is coming from me. I want to do like a an instrumental project. So I actually have a lot of the instrumentals already, but I'm trying to do something special with it. So, look for that if y'all are interested in like my artist endeavors. And being that, it's a new year, man, I want to get out there and meet the people and maybe, do, connect with the music and stuff. So yeah, man, trying to do a music video, all of that. Your boy got a lot going on. But thank you for supporting the platform. And I will catch y'all on the next video. All right. And let me know how y'all feel about this show in the comments and what y'all would like to see next from Out the Box. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your night. Peace, love, and light. Stay focused, stay healthy, stay safe. I'm out of here.